Joining me now is former Alabama quarterback Tyler Watts. Tyler, how's it going, man? Now tell me, you Alabama folks won 9 of the last 10 against Georgia, so you're expecting to win this game at Sanford Stadium.
Buck, you know how these things are. They got nothing to do with what's happened in the past. It's all about this year. I heard an interesting thing from one of your guys here today saying that 50-something% of y'all's roster never competed against Nick Saban. So all that stuff is in the past. And I'm glad.
Well, I want to talk about your quarterback, Ty Simpson, coming in hot. Just has lit it up the last couple of games. What is it you really like about Ty Simpson's skill set?
All right, so the processing of what was taking place in his head that first week versus Florida State was a little bit sluggish. I mean, he wasn't really trusting his eyes and what he was seeing. He wasn't pulling the trigger as quickly as he probably should have. And that cost him a couple of completions, cost us moving the chains, keeping drives going, cost him a touchdown pass in the third quarter. But in weeks 2 and 3, he has really improved that. He's trusting what he's seeing. He's getting rid of the football quickly. He's accurate as all get out. And he's putting the ball into places where his receivers can catch and run after the catch, obviously. And that's a huge component of the success that this Alabama offense has had over the last couple of weeks. And you have to take it with a grain of salt based on, well, who is your competition? Monroe obviously was not the caliber of what Wisconsin was, which is not near the caliber of what he's going to experience this week in Athens. However, you can have improvement even against lesser opponents just by, is your processing, are you making the right decisions, are you getting the ball out on time, are you putting the ball where it needs to be? And he has improved in those areas. And as a result, this offense has looked much different.
I saw him play 2 years ago against South Florida. It was a low-scoring game. He got the start. Looked like to me he, was slow processing like a lot of young quarterbacks after the snap of the ball, but looked like he, needed to get stronger, get in the weight room a little bit. He looks a lot different now, 2 years later. Where has he improved the most, do you think?
Confidence. Confidence is everything with a quarterback. And when you're in a program longer, you're around the guys, you're learning the systems, how to play the game, how to prepare and practice, and you learn the offense in a way that you now feel that you have control over it and a true understanding of what the coaches are trying to get out of it. Then all of a sudden, all those things that we just talked about they happen quicker, and they become easier for you to digest what the defense is doing. And you have the ability to go out there and make plays as a result of it. And so really his confidence has improved over the last 12 months. And you know this as well as I do. Sometimes just being the guy and everyone looking to you as a leader of the offense and it being your job to lose is a whole lot different than having to compete on a daily basis where you're really putting a lot of pressure on yourself to go out there and make plays. And as a result, you're pressing, you're making mistakes as a result of that, and you're not playing within the system. But when you're named the guy, and the coaches are showing that confidence in you, it just exudes out of you, and you start making plays, and the more plays you make, it's a snowball effect. The more confidence you get.
Out of respect for the offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, have you seen an offense that is better than it was a year ago because of his presence now?
It's hard to say because the personnel has changed so much. And I think that regardless of who was calling the plays this year, had they been calling it from last year to this year, it would have changed a little bit. You're very talented at the skill position, but there's a definite, I guess, just an effort to try to run the football more. Every coaching staff wants to be able to establish the line of scrimmage and be able to run the football and then run play action off of that. And there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can be stubborn and just say, we're going to run the ball and then throw off of that. Or you can try to spread defenses out, which is what Alabama's kind of been forced to do here the last couple of weeks, to soften up the defense and then try to run after that. And it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out really on both sides of the line for both Alabama and the Georgia offense. How much success do they have running the ball between the tackles? I think they all realize they're going to have to be balanced and try to stretch these defenses out and get some players in some uncomfortable positions where they don't necessarily trust what they're seeing and they're a little bit slow.
Yeah, I saw where the Alabama offensive and defensive coordinator speaking with the media earlier this week and saw what Grubb had to say. And it sounds like he really is interested in getting that power running game going early. First possession, second possession. handing that ball to Jam Miller. How much of an impact can he make?
We're hoping that he plays a good role in this ball game. I mean, he's been scratching and clawing to get on the field for the last several weeks. He's felt that he has been healthy enough coming off the collarbone injury, but the coaches and I think the medical staff said, let's just give him a little bit of time. And it was a good test versus Wisconsin. Say what you want to about Wisconsin. They actually had a really good front seven who did a really nice job of hemming up the running game for Alabama. However, when Alabama took the ball over and early in the second quarter, they were backed up on the 2-yard line, and the first play from scrimmage was about a 10-yard gain. So when they needed to be able to run the football at various times, they were able to do that. But look, every offensive coordinator wants to be able to impose their will along the line, and they know that the game just it's a lot easier to call as an offensive coordinator when you can control the line of scrimmage.
It's got to be an urge to throw it around a lot with Ryan Williams, Germie Bernard. I see two really highly skilled weapons right there. Germie looks like a guy that is a total well-rounded skill set. And, of course, Ryan Williams, we saw him a year ago against Georgia, really explosive, athletic. You got to get the ball to those guys as much as you can, I would imagine.
Yeah, Germie Bernard is really a tone setter in that offensive room. He does such a good job of blocking around the line of scrimmage, downfield blocking. They've utilized him in the running game a couple of times, and then when he gets one-on-one opportunities, he's a pretty good route runner as well. So he really elevates the play of the entire receiving core because when you start paying a little bit too much attention to one guy thinking, we got to take this fella away in order to win, well, there's 2 or 3 other guys that are capable of making plays. Another receiver or two for your guys to watch out is number 17, Lotzeir Brooks, who has really been an impactful player here early on. And he's kind of the same mold as what Germie Bernard is. Very physical. They like to utilize him on the quick screen passes and blocking as well as getting the ball in his hands. But he's a good threat down the field as well.
Hey, let me hit you up before I let you go here. Your first impression of Gunnar Stockton.
I've been impressed. My first impression of him obviously was in the SEC championship game last year, where I was amazed at his toughness and just the will to win is kind of what he possessed. But then watching him over the first 2 weeks, and it looked like the offense was struggling, weren't really pushing the ball down the field. And what does he do versus Tennessee? He goes out and throws a 4th and 20 for a touchdown to keep the game going. So, look, dude's a winner. He's going to compete. And I think that every coaching staff loves to have guys like that on their side because, regardless of the situation, he's just going to keep fighting. He's just going to keep fighting, and then whatever happens, happens.
Hey, we appreciate your knowledge, man. Thanks for spending some time with us today.
Hey, thanks, Buck. I appreciate it. But I don't know if you remember this right here. This is that SEC championship that we stole from y'all here a couple of years ago.
And too many to count.
Throw a little trash out there.
Yeah, my God. At least we got you in that national championship game here recently.
Amen.
Yeah, great having Tyler Watts on, longtime golf buddy, and really enjoyed watching him play back in the day at Alabama. Really nice of him to spend some time with us. All right, coming up later this week, we'll drop another podcast. Man, I mean, we got the Braves ending their season. A lot to talk about there. Got the Falcons coming off that miserable 30-0 blowout loss up in Charlotte. I could really dive deep into that, but I think we'll come back later this week. We'll talk more about this Alabama-Georgia game, and I'll give you a prediction on the game. It's going to do it for right now. We appreciate you hanging out on Buck's Beat.